Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every week we get together to talk about movies, TV, and online content. Help you answer the question, is it true that in 2023 Netflix is finally finishing its DVD mail out program? Yes. I thought for sure
yes.
That was already dead.
I think that
but
was just
no.
a straight up news story. It wasn't really something I can answer for you. It's a fact.
I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Join me today, Don Blood.
Full of facts.
Full of facts. It's just weird though, you know, that it's taken this long for them to kill it off. Remember when they were going to split it into two separate companies? It was like Netflix and like some random weird name, like Flickster or something.
Oh yeah, Flickster was an Australian thing, right?
No. Something like that. I don't think it was exactly Flickster. But then they announced it, and like some random dude had the Twitter handle. He's like, I'll sell it to them for like $1 million or something. So they just cancelled it. And they just kept it as Netflix. Weird story. But yeah, rip to mail out DVDs, I guess. You know? Does this signal the end of physical media?
No.
Not
while I'm around.
No, Dylan will keep those steelbook sales up. All right, on today's episode of What Do You Want to Watch, we'll be discussing what's in our watch history, talking about some film news, giving some thumbs with trailers, and talking about this week's top three. We'll kick things off. The Mandalorian Season 3 finished up last week, of course, following the trials and tribulations of Din Djarin and Grogu. Of course, we've been talking about the season over on Holocron Entries, but Dylan, do you want to give your overall thoughts on Season 3 of The Mandalorian?
Yeah, it was a bit of a rough season. I feel like we were complaining more than being positive. And we talked about in the last episode how it wasn't just even us. I feel like I was seeing more criticisms about the show than I had for any of the other past seasons. I'm not sure if it is entirely just that the writing and everything just seemed worse than usual this season, or if it's after having Andor and seeing a much higher quality written Star Wars show that it just made the faults stand out more. But that's where we're at.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing. Is it since last season of Mandalorian, we've had Book of Boba Fett,
which was bad,
and Obi-Wan, which was not well received either.
Yeah,
and then the high of Andor.
Yeah.
And then we get this, which is somewhere between those two things.
I think that's part of
it. Because we got used to being critical of Star Wars, we were more willing to be more critical about this.
Yeah. I mean, I don't recall. It's not like I've ever been saying this is the best show ever. I definitely feel like I was more critical of the second season than the first. Like, I feel like the show's got worse as it's going along. Which sounds really bad to say, but it's like one of those things where I watch it and I enjoy it, but just know that it's sort of bad at the same time. Like, it's the positives of the show are held up by characters not created for this show. The fact that it's just Star Wars and there's elements of it that are just generally cool and that helps elevate it. Grogu being cute is just helps elevate other sort of parts, but yeah, for the most part, you're like, why? It's just weirdly written. Like, Jon Favreau writes this, I think, just one draft and knocks it out of the park. I think the most interesting thing coming up is if Ahsoka is shit, then I can't put all the blame on Jon Favreau, and I have to go.
It's Dave
Filoni as well.
He's lost his spark,
he's just lost his spark or something. So that will be the interesting thing, because he co-writes like one episode a season, maybe two at the moment, of this. But he's the executive producer, of course. But Jon Favreau like writes every episode, and then Ahsoka, Dave Filoni wrote every episode of Ahsoka. So yeah,
wait and see. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the season overall. I think there's definitely peaks and valleys. It's been a kind of the overall season plot of like the Mandalorians all coming back together to go to Mandalore. You know, was fun. Bo-Katan was cool to see become a prominent character this season. I don't know if what she's going to do going forward. And the season definitely leaves off in an interesting place where the potential for a season 4 is much more intriguing. Like, just give us fun space adventures space cop adventures with Grogu and Jin, solving week by week mysteries. That's what I want. I don't know if that's what fans want, especially based on the reaction to episode 6 of this season with Jack Black and Lizzo, where everybody seemed to lose their minds over that. But we loved it.
Best episode of the season, the most hated one.
Yeah. It's just they're trying to figure out a mystery in Star Wars.
The worst thing about that too is people sharing screenshots of that, and then for people who don't watch the show, like I'd see people share screenshots and be like, "Man, this week's episode sucked. Absolutely the worst thing ever." And you'd see someone reply like, "Yeah, this is the reason I don't watch the show. This is it." Like
this was completely not
like out of context, like or whatever else. Like, yeah, some of those screenshots of Jack Black and stuff looked very fucking weird. But it was a very weird episode. But it was very fun. Like,
I mean, most screenshots of any show, if you time it right, are going to look weird.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So, yeah, Mandalorian, check it out, and of course, go over to Holocron Entries to check out all our episode by episode discussions of the Mandalorian if you're catching up. Dylan, you went out and watched Evil Dead Rise. How much cheese grater was there?
There was a cheese grater indeed used in the film. My favorite part is they made that one like one of the official
emojis.
Emojis, yeah. It's good shit. Evil Dead Rise is everything I feel like most people would want out of an Evil Dead movie in the year 2023. It does lean more in the direction of the tone of the 13? Yeah, it's like 10 years old. 2013 Evil Dead film, which was just dead serious, like nasty and stuff like that. People often have this debate, and you'll see them. I've seen people like put out their rankings where people complain that this one and the last one lost the cheese factor. And the argument, and I'm on the side where I agree with this, but the argument is that the first film was only cheesy because of budget reasons, and it wasn't actually meant to be cheesy. It was meant to be like a serious, like gory horror movie, and then sort of became known for its cheese factor. Army of Dead meant to be cheesy. That's meant to be like a horror comedy. However, Evil Dead was never meant to be cheesy in its factor. But this one's really cool. It sort of gets it away from the core house location that you've had for all the other Evil Dead films outside of Army of Dead and the TV show, of course. But every other main film takes place in the same cabin. This one takes it to a multi-story, like massive, whatever, like apartment complex building in whatever city, I can't remember, doesn't really matter, American city. And the kids of this family discover, when an earthquake happens, they discover these records and the Book of the Dead, and then of course they listen to it and unleash the evil spirits, and they take hold of first the mother, who's you see all in the trailer, and she's on the posters and stuff like that. The actress, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, she's been getting nothing but praise, rightfully so, because she's
Alyssa Sutherland,
yeah,
who plays the Deadite.
Huh? Yeah, the Deadite. Yeah. Everyone's like giving her a lot of praise for this.
I think she was in Vikings, was her thing.
I've not seen that show, but she's very good in this. Is it Vikings?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, there you go. She's very good in this. Like very loving and like interesting character at first, and then she's taken over just mummies with the maggots now. Like all this sort of stuff is just like she's like so freaky and scary, which is really, really good. The apartment complex location works really, really well because this gives you this claustrophobic setting the movie is like a sharp 90 minutes, I think, so it doesn't ever like overstay its welcome or anything like that. But if you want a nasty Evil Dead movie with some really fucked up kills and moments, one involving a cheese grater, this is definitely going to be for you, because by the end, it doesn't quite have the same ending that the 2013 movie had, which had one of the goriest, absolute most blood drenched scenes of any horror movie ever. But this movie definitely attempts to do something just as intense, and it nearly gets there. It's still very, very good, but not quite as blood soaked as the 2013 remake.
All right. I went to an advanced screening of Polite Society. So this is a British action comedy directed by Nida Manzoor that stars Priya Kansara and Ritu Arya. It's about a young girl called Ria Khan who hopes to become a stunt woman, practices like a bunch of martial arts and that kind of stuff, but her family does not want her to become a stunt woman. She lives at home with her sister, who
I just remembered I watched the trailer as you're talking. I'm like, what is this? And I remember I watched the trailer for this. I never heard of it. And they played a trailer for something I saw a couple of weeks ago. I remember being like, man, this movie looks wild. I want to watch this. So you better tell me it was good. Continue.
yeah, her sister's at art school dropout and like kind of trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life and that kind of stuff. And she starts a relationship with like a doctor dude from a rich family, like within the Pakistani kind of community, and they quickly become engaged. And the Rhea believes there's some sort of plot behind why her sister's got into this relationship. And she has to try and figure out why. Is there something more sinister behind that kind of stuff? It is a really fun movie. I really enjoyed it. There's like kind of cringy elements of it because she's constantly trying to like do this fist of the fury, I am the fury thing to the camera. Like she shoots like a bunch of YouTube videos and that kind of stuff. But it's very funny and lots of dumb little heists and shenanigans and that kind of stuff. Whether it's them trying to infiltrate the boyfriend's like gym so they can steal his laptop and stuff, and like wearing fake mustaches and dumb outfits and that kind of stuff. The action overall is pretty solid. I mean, you know, I don't think it's not John Wick, but I mean, it's serviceable
Well, what
for
is?
what
You know?
not much is. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool. It's a fun, interesting look at like a British Pakistani family, and like kind of the societal elements that are still involved in this British society, I guess. Like, obviously, these two girls are very much not wanting to like do non-typical kind of careers that are expected of like immigrant families and that kind of stuff. Yeah, just really enjoy. There's like some over the top craziness. Like the two girls get into a fight at some point and they're just smashing each other around the room and like putting each other through doors and shit. So it's definitely a heightened experience or heightened reality. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think there's a lot of fun elements to it. Lots of story about sisterhood and friendship and, you know, evil people potentially. So yeah, check out Polite Society. I believe it is releasing cinemas this week, the 27th, off the top of my head. So yeah, I would definitely recommend checking that out. I also watched Ghosted, the new film starring Chris Evans and Ana de Armas on Apple TV Plus, directed by Dexter Fletcher, in which Chris Evans plays a farmer, I guess, or he's a agricultural scholar who stayed at home to help his father with his farm because, you know, he had an injury or whatever, and is kind of stuck in like a rut of being, you know, not wanting to go out and do anything. Who comes across Ana de Armas as he's selling honey at a farmer's market, and then proceeds to have an amazing first date. But then it turns out she's a CIA agent. After he finds out after following her to London because he accidentally left his asthma inhaler in her bag, you know, and he's a guy who like loses a lot of stuff, so he has trackers on all these different things. So he realizes she's in London, so he follows her there, thinking it's going to be this big romantic gesture, and then he gets caught up into this massive international incident. Because, you know, she's went on some mission and had some sort of passcode that you know, unlocks some secret weapon and that kind of stuff. So it is an average, you know, action comedy. Definitely relying on the charm of Ana de Armas and Chris Evans, and they certainly deliver on that. If you like them as actors, I think you'll get some sort of enjoyment out of this. If you're going into this expecting it to be John Wick, it's not going to be John Wick, even though I think there is some fun, creative action sequences. And there's some fun banter and that kind of stuff. I think, you know, the other thing that like people enjoyed There's some fun cameos. If you look at the people involved in the project, you can probably guess who shows up in the movie in different parts. But yeah, it's very short. It's only like 90 something minutes. So, I mean, it's perfectly fine night in. Pretty solid action, pretty solid performances, enjoyable enough. It's not going to blow your mind. But, I don't think it's as offensive or bad as people are potentially saying out there. It's like, this is terrible. This is what Captain America's been. This is the depths Captain America's been drawn to and that kind of shit. So I think it's enjoyable enough. But yeah, Ghost it on Apple TV Plus. Check it out. If you want. Dylan, I saw that you binge watched Class of '09.
Did I binge watch it? It took me a couple weeks.
It seemed like there was a big bulk of episodes in one go.
Oh,
maybe you tracked it very quickly.
Class of '09, yeah. Prime original Australian series. It is about a, what do you call it? A like 10-year reunion that's happening at this. I think it's set. I said it's Class of '07 actually. Class of '09 is the new show that's coming out.
Class of '07.
Yeah,
put it
but
wrong
our trailer of a Class of '09. That is a show too. But Class of '07, yeah. So it's coming out
completely different. That one's about
yep.
the FBI.
Yep.
This one's about apocalypse. Very different.
So I think it's set in New South Wales, and then so the main character is played by Emily Browning. The show starts with her having this whole thing, obviously, where she gets shit on. It's very funny. And then the world apocalypse happens. Did you finish it in your thing? Yeah. Okay. So how far did you get?
I got like 2 or 3 episodes in.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the whole bit is that they get, in case you missed it, the world starts falling apart, water starts like sort of erupting out of the ground, and then Emily Browning's character, she rushes up to the high school reunion she was ignoring because she got shat on by a bird on
reality
TV dating show and didn't want to show up there. And then when she gets there, she meets up with it was an all girls school, so it's just like all these girls, and the whole place just gets flooded, and they're sort of stuck only at their school. As the episodes progress, it sort of takes, I don't know, it's sort of trying to mix this thing where, so Caitlin Stacey's character, by the second or third episode, she sort of ends up taking charge of the group because she's sort of asked to, because she was like a real bitch in high school or whatever. So which she's a changed person now. So she steps back into that character and she tries to get all the girls to do stuff like, they tried going like hardcore and trying to like batteries, so like charge batteries via bikes so they can send out help messages and all this sort of stuff. Their food disappears within the first couple episodes because someone eats it all, and all these characters like consistently make really annoying and dumb decisions. So but it's part of the it's part of the bit, charm, I guess. Yeah. The charm. All the characters are really over the top, silly in one way or another. There's some ridiculous things that happen in the later half of the season which includes like a whole court case being set up between all of them and all weird shit. But yeah, I thought it was really enjoyable. It is very and the reason I was like wondering if you finished it, because it does have a lot of like awkward humor and crude humor, which I know isn't like your preferred cup of tea, if we say that. I mean, there's an episode, I think like 4th or 5th episode, they all get food poisoning at one stage here, and there's nothing but straight throwing up for like one bit. They like managed to find one fish and they just like do not cook that shit at all properly. Like it's just they got food poisoning coming out left, right, and there. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I think Emily Browning is usually pretty good in everything she's in. Caitlin Stacey's like, I don't know, she's really good in this. I think like she was on a Home and Away or whatever, and then she did a couple other things, but I think she struggled to sort of find her
she's vibe, a smile girl, right?
She's what?
The smile girl from the poster.
Yeah, she's on the poster. She's not the main character. No, she's the one who like kills herself at the start. And it's on the poster. I mean, that's not a spoiler. It's literally in the trailer. Like that's the whole setup for the movie. But yeah, she was in like, so she's really good in this as well. And there's a bunch of all the other characters I don't really know. I think they're more recent actors, but I think everyone's Australian, so apart from like 1 or 2 people. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm very happy to continue to get more Australian shows on these the Australian co-produced shows that are made in Australia on all these streaming services. So yeah, I feel like I'm watching a bunch this year, which I'm not going to complain too much about. Is I've been watching them between Prime and Stan and Netflix and fucking
Yeah.
Disney. Everyone has stuff going on, which is good.
Yeah, doing it so they don't have to. The Australian government will not mandate it, probably.
Yeah,
Like, oh, we're already doing it. Don't worry
which
about
is
it.
fine. I remember when we discussed the story like a year ago. I was like, I was totally like, that sounds good. I don't feel like that's a like, I think that's fair. But if they're not going to mandate it and we still get the shows because they want to do it so they don't get in trouble, that works too.
Yeah, whatever helps.
Whatever helps.
So I've been watching the latest season of Schmigadoon. So of course the Apple TV Plus show starring Cecily Strong and Keegan Michael Key, which is about a couple who accidentally wander into a fictitious small town of Schmigadoon, which was like in the golden age of musicals, like a bunch of like people singing songs and dancing. Yeah, it was a musical. The second season takes a twist where they try to go back to Schmigadoon after like leaving the town after finding true love and all that kind of stuff. But Schmigadoon has been replaced with the city of Chicago. And this season has been more influenced by the musicals of the 60s and 70s. So, like, of course, Chicago and Sweeney Todd and musicals of that ilk. Titus Burgess joins the cast as the narrator, who is very amusing. This season of Schmigadoon is fantastic. I'm really enjoying it. Maybe it's just vibing more with me because I'm enjoying more of the darker and silly takes on the musicals, and this makes more relatable than the golden age musicals of the first season. The season also kicks off with like a murder mystery because King Michael Key's character is like framed for a murder at the start of the season. Yeah, really enjoyable. Like a lot of the cast from the first season are back, but they're all playing like different roles to what they did in the first season, so it's like completely new ensemble. Yeah, and there's so many like laughable jokes and like fun songs. I'm sure you've seen some on social media. Like Jane Krasinski has a big like lawyer number called Bells and Whistles, where she says, her strategy to winning court cases is just a bunch of bells and whistles, and also an extensive knowledge of the law. Very important. And then in this most recent episode, spoilers, but there is a song about who is it? It's Kristen Chenoweth and Alan Cummings sing a song about how they're going to take the multiple orphans that she's been taking care of because she has too many orphans. And the butcher, played by Alan Cummings, doesn't have enough meat in his butcher shop. So they're going to murder all these orphans and sell them as meat in his butcher shop. And they sing a song about it, Nice. It's pretty fantastic. Yeah. So, cannibalism going strong, 2023. Continues to be a strong plotline. It is just delightful. I would recommend checking it out. Even if you haven't seen season 1, I think you could jump straight into season 2 and still get a fair amount of enjoyment out of it. I think the recap probably does enough. Other than there'll be like some jokes and like referencing what the characters did in the previous season. But for the most part, I think it's completely fresh and you can probably jump in. But yeah, I'm really enjoying Schmigadoon season 2. There's 4 episodes so far. Apparently there's only 6. Yeah, there's only 6 episodes for the season. So I'm definitely very keen to check out the last 2 episodes. Dylan, you watched Possessor Uncut.
So I never got around to watching this, even though it was always on my list.
Oh, really?
It was just like one of the most talked about movies of 2020, and I really wanted to watch it, but it never fucking. It never came to cinema, and it never.
Well, there was something that happened in 2020 that made it difficult for to get into cinema.
Yeah, true, I guess. And then I couldn't get anywhere.
But also, you live in Launceston, so
yeah. And it fell into that list of stuff I'll get to eventually, and then forgot about it for a while. And anyway, we're back here. I watched it. Really, really good. So the the setup for this movie is that it's there's a hitman organization that the main character, who's played by Andrea Riseborough, she is she puts on this headset sort of thing, and they're able to put her consciousness into control of someone else, and then she kills and performs a hit basically on a target via someone else, and then it's all played out in a way that no one would ever suspect foul play, because they're just they'll have some narrative built out where it's this person lost their mind, or it was the girlfriend's partners because they got jealous. They'll have a thing so that the news will just, no one will ever suspect foul play. They don't know anything. So it's sort of this very futuristic idea about the hitman sort of organization that's happening. The movie starts with this scene where she's in control of someone, and she goes into this room and she stabs someone as this woman she's in control of at the time. But then at the end, she's supposed to shoot herself because of course they can't take her consciousness out and then have the person be I was in control of my body, and it would make the whole thing messier. So they're supposed to she's supposed to shoot herself, and then she'll come back into her own body and whatever else, but she's unable to do it, or she's struggling. Luckily cops come in and shoot her anyway. But then when she goes to do her second job, which is where she takes over the body of this character played by Christopher Abbott, she starts losing, sinking in and out of being control, having to fight control for it. Jennifer Jason Leigh plays her handler, I guess, if you want to call it that. Yeah, the person that oversees her during these jobs and stuff. But yeah, then the movie sinks into this thing where she's trying to fulfill this job and this hit while still struggling with the fact that she's sort of losing consciousness and stuff like that. The movie's it plays into a lot of these really interesting themes about how we as humans sort of pretend to be certain types of people or act you'll act differently in front of different people, or you'll put on a whole thing. Because after her first job at the start of the movie, there's this really interesting sequence where she goes home where her ex-husband's with her child at the time, and before walking in, there's this whole sequence where she stands there being hello darling, I've missed you, oh, hungry, yeah, I'm hungry too, just trying to talk normally, because she's been in control of someone else for so long. She's sort of having to then practice how to even be her own self, which is, yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's a sci-fi horror movie, I guess. It's not a typical, the horror movie aspect is just that when someone dies in this movie, they die they die in a visceral fashion, to put it that way. But yeah, that sort of leans a lot on the sci-fi element for the core concept of the movie, and then yeah, it just gets sort of fucked up when stuff happens. The movie poster is, I guess, the thing that stands out, that creeps people out, where there's a character wearing, so it's actually another character wearing her face, and that becomes part of the plot point. But yeah, really, really, really enjoyed it. I think it's very high concept sci-fi horror stuff, which of course Big Daddy was also known for doing. So Brandon's continuing in the same footsteps. Good shit.
Good shit. All right, that's everything I watched this tree. Let's just jump straight into film news, and it's kind of a quiet week this week. But CinemaCon is about to take place as we're talking. So next week, I would assume, bunch of stuff to talk about. Yeah, interestingly, they're showing 3 films in completion over in its entirety at CinemaCon. The Flash, Joyride, and The Boogeyman. So I'm sure
Can I
we'll
just
see.
say quickly?
Yeah.
When I went and watched what did I last watch in cinemas? Oh, Evil Dead, right. So when I watched Evil Dead, they showed a trailer for The Flash I'd never seen before. Is this just because I've been ignoring the marketing material, or did one just come out?
I don't know what was in the trailer.
It had a lot of Batman, Michael Keaton stuff, and it showed a lot more of Supergirl. It was just a bunch of stuff I'd never seen before. I've never seen this trailer in my life.
Maybe you just avoided it.
Maybe, yeah, okay. Well, there you go.
But yeah, I'm sure we'll be told. There'll probably be. I know there's going to be a new trailer tomorrow, and I'm sure we'll see a bunch of other trailers in the next week. So talk about that all next week. But this week, Dylan, break out the sparkles. The Twilight Saga is getting the television treatment, as sources tell The Hollywood Reporter. A series version of author Stephanie Meyer's best-selling series is in early development at Lionsgate Television. Sidney Daly, whose credits include Tell Me Lies, The Walking Dead, World Beyond, Raised by Wolves, Dirk Gently's holistic detective agency, and The Get Down, is attached to write the script for Twilight. Sources say Daly is working with Lionsgate to determine what the specific take on Twilight will be, and if it will be a remake of Meyer's book or a different offshoot. The Twilight TV series is in infancy and do not yet have a network platform or studio, sources say. Says the studio, which controls the rights to the franchise, plans to lead the development on the project before shopping the rights to the package. There is not a timeline for when the Twilight series will be taken out to potential buyers. Dylan, are you surprised that we're going to get a Twilight television series?
Nah, they were like, yeah, Harry Potter's on. Like, let's just go grab all. Let's just fucking nab up all the popular YA novel series and turn them into TV series.
TV series.
So, sure.
It's kind of an interesting trend, obviously with the Harry Potter series, but also like Lord of the Rings, like taking massive film franchises that we know and love and like kind of either remaking them completely or doing offshoot projects.
Yeah, I mean, well, Lord of the Rings ones sort of made more sense because it was like it's just based on Lord of the Rings and they're just doing their own story and it's set ages before the books and all this sort of stuff.
There's no guarantee this is going to be a direct adaptation of the books.
They
said they could potentially do it.
I guarantee this is. It's not going to be. First one. It'll be a adaptation of the books that'll include some extra stuff, but it's still going to be the exact same story because is the Twilight world interesting enough that you want to see a bunch of spin-offs? No. The reason that Twilight books and movies did well is because of the Bella and Edward shit. So,
don't we want to learn how we can go Edward's beginnings, how he first became a vampire and got all sparkly? The origins of the sparkly vampires?
No. And I've read the books. That. Like, I enjoyed the books.
Okay.
But
so you're keen. How do you feel about movies?
Well, no, I feel like they could do it. So there's a lot that's happened since the films that I only watched the first couple of movies and I stopped because I didn't actually think they were very good. But I've read all the books. I never watched. So I know that people hated the last two movies and just like the weird treatment and the way that it sort of does which is one of those things, I guess, when you read it, and like I was younger and I read it too, you don't really think too much about it, but there is a weird storyline, Bella and werewolf and all this sort of shit. There's a lot of weird shit in it. So I think if they change all the weird shit,
if they just change all of it,
no,
maybe
I mean,
work all the weird shit.
I think they could keep the core. So what made I think the first movie is really good still. I stand by the first movie. In fact, I would happily rewatch that now because it's fun, it's stupid, it's silly, it's got a fantastic soundtrack. It's just it's got its vibe, right? It's got a vibe. You're either down with that vibe or you think it's dumb. But if you're down, Muse plays that baseball scene, you're all in. Like it's bow, you're gone. It's a bunch of just Edward just like constantly like frowning and Bella being like, oh, it's a whole movie. So, but I stand by that movie as like a solid 7 or some shit. It's fine. Catherine Hardwicke did a fine job. But yeah, to fix it, you got to start with the whole like falling in love with baby thing because that's fucking weird. And then the other problem that I've read about,
they don't need to address that for several seasons.
The other thing that I think would make the show a lot more interesting and fix the other major potential, the other issue that came up post me reading all the books and stuff as I got older and I would read about these things. And I think I've seen this circulating more now as this news came up that's the treatment of the indigenous, I can't remember the exact, like the name of the people that are portrayed in the films and stuff, but the indigenous people, which they like, you can go read a million articles about like the like how they're written for the books, how they're written in the movie and all this sort of stuff. But like, I think if you take the core concept of Twilight and you you can keep it still Twilight, sexy vampires, love story, but also like have the indigenous part be
The cultural stuff, yeah.
the cultural stuff be a bigger part, not have it like a weird appropriation thing, or have it like played off stereotypically. Like make it like do that all right. Get rid of the weird falling in love with the baby thing. Like there is like the whole Vatican vampire group thing, which is like semi interesting, but not enough to that I'd watch a spin off about it. But look, I'm gonna fall on the side of, could this be good? Yes, if everything I just said happened. Will everything I just said happen? Probably not. So let's assume it's probably not going to be interesting.
As someone who's never watched any of the Twilight films or read the books, cool, I guess. It just seems like another, milking the franchise. Obviously, it's been several years since the franchise is finished, so I guess it makes sense to like bring it back again. It just seems like a continuation of the trend of like, oh, it didn't work as a movie, or it's been a while since the movie's out. Let's do a TV series because everybody's doing TV series at the moment. But it could be interesting. It'll be interesting to see who they get to cast as the two lead roles, because obviously they've got massive shoes to fill with Kristen Stewart and
I couldn't.
Rob
I had to
Pattinson.
find it because I felt bad. But the Quillette tribe, right?
Yeah,
So that's the
because
official.
they're the werewolves, right?
Yeah, they're the werewolves. But like they're a real tribe of
Yeah.
indigenous people, and a lot of their culture and stuff is used in the books and movies. But and again, you could find a million articles about this. But the common pull up point for what was done wrong was, outside stereotypical stuff and whatever, they did cast some like actual indigenous people, of course, like Jacob or whatever in the movie and stuff. But all of the like taking their like history, the whatever like stuff, like appropriation stuff for their movie, none of that, those people were ever compensated for their art, their traditions, all that, like all that stuff being used in anything. So yeah, that was like a common.
Okay. So yeah, I guess we'll wait and see how this develops. But yeah, it's just crazy. Twilight back as a thing. This was an interesting story I saw. As part of its ongoing celebration of the 100th anniversary of Warner Brothers Studios, parent company Warner Brothers Discovery has commissioned short film adaptations of 6 classic movies from its vault. These 20-minute shorts, which will be available to stream on Max later this year, will update the films through today's more diverse and inclusive understanding of the world, with what WBD's Discovery diversity, equity, and inclusion teams call representative casting, storytelling, and narrative. 6 filmmakers have been chosen by a committee that includes HBD's senior VP of DEI in North America, Karen Korn, alongside individuals from Warner Brothers, several labs and development communities. The filmmakers will receive a budget through which they can derive their own compensation. Will begin production this summer and will be mentored by a group of established producers and directors, including Greg Berlanti, Angel Manuel Soto, Blitz Bazawale, John M. Chu, Dennis Goulet, and James Lebich. The 6 filmmakers and their reimagined classics are Robin Cloud doing Calamity Jane, Regan Linton doing Jack and the Beanstalk, B. Monet doing A Star is Born, Monica Moore Suriag doing The Adventures of Robin Hood, Juan Pablo Aras Munez doing Rebel Without a Cause, and Tassaron Tai Leclerc doing The Prince and the Pauper. John, just what do you think of this concept of them doing short remakes, I guess, or adaptations of classic Hollywood films?
Seems weird. What's the yeah, I don't know what the pitch or the reasoning. Just seems like
I guess to update and like honor, I guess. Really, it's a massive like advertising thing, I would say, more than anything else. It's like,
for what?
Check out these things that are kind of adapting. I don't know what really the point is. I mean, it's a great opportunity for these filmmakers. And like 5 out of those stories are stories that could potentially do with a modern remake. One of them stands out as one that probably should not be on the list. It doesn't need a remake anytime in any time frame, or seeing as it's been remade like 6 or 7 times already.
Yeah,
But,
what's one more? You know,
I guess. I did see when I was like searching up this story, someone has already gone out and said the woke agenda is remaking a bunch of classic Warner Brothers films, because obviously they're going to do like modern day castings and that kind of stuff. So they could have a lesbian woman playing James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause.
so they're just assuming.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting concept, like taking the premise of these movies and making like short films, I guess, just for purely for streaming purposes, and it's like as a homage or celebration of these classic films. Also giving these filmmakers like a spotlight and that kind of stuff. I think that's pretty cool, interesting.
We'll see if.
And let's be honest, how many of these classic films have people actually watched? And maybe
all of them. People watch these all the time. How dare they ruin them?
I've watched one of those.
There's outrage. You're a fake fan.
Fake film buff? Yeah.
Yep.
How many of those films have you watched?
Name them all.
Calamity Jane.
Nah.
Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah.
Like the original Jack.
Yeah.
A Star is Born.
Nah.
The Adventures of Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Rebel Without a Cause.
Yep.
Prince and Pauper.
No, I don't think so.
So half. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess we'll wait and see how this turns out. And we'll see the eventual like backlash against it. I would imagine it's going to upset a bunch of people. It's going to be fun to watch, I think. Last news story. This was an interesting one. Amazon Prime Video introduces a new feature that will help you actually hear the dialogue. For all of you that have trouble hearing the dialogue in Amazon Prime Video shows and movies, your complaints have been heard. Amazon has unveiled a new feature to its streaming service Prime Video called
Captions.
Dialogue Boost.
Okay, never mind.
Which allows viewers to increase the volume of dialogue relative to background music and effects. The feature, which is currently available on a limited selection of Amazon originals, was initially built for customers or consumers who are hard of hearing, but anyone can use the tool to suit their own listening preferences. Currently, Dialogue Boost is only available on certain English language shows, including The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan and Harlem. Some films, such as The Big Sick, Being the Ricardos, and Beautiful Boy, are also compatible with the feature. Amazon will be adding Dialogue Boost support to additional titles later this year, while similar dialogue boosting features are available on higher-end televisions and theater systems, Prime Video claims it is the first global streaming service to offer the feature. But how does this even work? Well, Amazon says that the tool utilizes an AI to isolate and to boost certain things in the audio. It analyzes the original audio in the movie or show, identifying times when it might be hard to hear the dialogue. Then the feature isolates speech patterns and enhances the audio to make the words sound clearer and crisper. Dylan, is this something you would potentially use?
No, but I feel like the big test would be to run The Dark Knight Rises or something,
just on any Christopher Nolan
thing, and see how what the AI can do on those. That'll be the big test. You know what the problem is with audio is half the problem is that all these things, these original shows, movies, and stuff, even though they're mixed they're made for streaming services that they know everyone watches at home, they still all audio mix them for proper surround sound, like movie settings. And everyone just has shitty TVs and no sound systems, and the audio just doesn't come out right. Is the problem? I'm not to put the blame on people not owning good setups, but it's just that they're mixed for cinema still. They're still mixed for like a proper setting. And then when they release them on streaming services, they don't like take into account that most people are watching them on fucking like not actual cinema. You know, like when they used to like mix a movie for a cinema, then they would play with the mix again for the VHS release, because they knew it would be different. So I truly believe that's what the majority of the problem is. So
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting idea and a good use of AI, and like one of the few promising uses of AI, I guess, in film and television. Did you see the Joe Russo quote that's been going
no,
around?
don't even fucking not.
Fucking crazy. No, nobody wants that, Joe. Nobody.
No
Well,
one.
some people do. But not for like a rom-com. They want it for do that for something else.
He's just like giving a quote like here's how I'll never have to work again. Like here's how my whole
here's how I'll make my job obsolete.
Yeah, here's how I'll make my job and everyone I work with's jobs really, yeah.
Crazy. All right. That's all the film news for this week. Let's give some thumbs to some trailers. Of course, you can find all the trailers we're about to talk about in the show notes below. First trailer for this week is City on Fire, created by Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage, starring Wyatt Olive, Chase Sue Wonders, Jemima Kirk, Nico Tortorella, Ashley Zuckerman, Xavier Clyde, Max Milner, Alexandra Doki, Amid Abti, Kathleen Monroe, John Cameron Mitchell, Alexander Pinero, and Michael Toe. After Samantha Sicaro was shot in Central Park, New York City on July 4th, 2003, the investigation into a murder reveals the crucial connection between a series of mysterious citywide fires, the downtown musical scene, and a wealthy uptown real estate family fraying under the strain of the many secrets they keep. Dylan, what did you think of this trailer for City on Fire?
I go double thumbs up. I don't really know what's happening in this. It just seems like a lot's going on, but that's totally fine. They're like, this girl got shot and she's connected to like this secret thing with like those fires happening, and then also this other thing with secret organization and all this other stuff. Lots of people in this show, like standout sort of people. So, I'll go double thumbs up. I have no fucking clue what's going on there.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up as well. I think it's raises a bunch of intrigue. Of course, this is based on a series of books by Garth Riss Kalberg. Except those take place in the 1970s, so I guess it's kind of a twist. Yeah, and of course, Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage are pretty successful, like creative team. Most notably known for Gossip Girl, but they've done a bunch of other stuff as well. Josh Schwartz obviously known for Chuck and The OC as well. So yeah, it looks promising. As long as like this mystery is kind of resolved within the one season, I think definitely be worth checking out. So this is coming to Apple TV Plus on the 12th of May. Next trailer, American-born Chinese, created by Kelvin Yu, starring Michelle Yeoh, Ben Wang, Yao Yan, Chin Han, Daniel Wu, Kiyu Kwan, Jim Liu, Sydney Taylor, Jin Wong. An average teenager juggles his high school social life with his home life, when he meets a new student on the first day of the school year, even more worlds collide as Jin is unwittingly entangled in a battle of Chinese mythological gods. Dylan, what are your thoughts on this trailer?
Double thumbs up. Looks really good. Did we have a teaser trailer of this before? Or did we just discuss the concept?
Yes, I think there was a teaser trailer. On Disney Plus Day, I think. Yeah.
No, it looks really, really good. Of course, the cast is sort of just everything everywhere at all at once, like sort of half reunion with also just as a wild concept and stuff happening. So it's like an odd crossover there. But yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. The weirdest part that sort of I didn't like those. There's that shot where they're in the kids' bedroom or whatever, and there's like clearly all these like Marvel comic books placed in the background. You can read like Captain America and all this shit. I'm like, calm down, like with your fucking. Do you really need like background product placement for your shit when it's on this Disney Plus show? Like, chill out. Anyway,
that's a real kid's bedroom. He's just nothing but Marvel posters on the walls.
Yeah, I'll go double thumbs up.
Yeah, I'll give 2 thumbs up as well. I think maybe some of the special effects don't look fantastic, but it looks a lot of fun, and it's like a very relatable story, at least for like anyone of like Asian descent. Like the episode opens with, or like the trailer opens with, a new Chinese kid. So let's get the Chinese kid to show him around. That's like not uncommon in my experience. And yeah, I think it looks really cool, like exploring Chinese mythology, of course, based on the Jin Lung Yang graphic novel. Yeah, I'm very excited for this. Yeah, of course, like the incredible product placement of like Michelle Yeoh and Ki Kwan in the trailer. It's like Academy Award winners. Also from the director of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, the massive Marvel film, and like definitely show that one shot of Stephanie Shu, even though she's I think like guest starring in one episode. It's like make sure she shows up in the trailer. Uh, yeah, this looks like a lot of fun. So yeah, this is debuting on Disney Plus on the 24th of May. Next trailer, White Man Can't Jump, directed by Charles Kalmatic Kidd II, starring Cinqua Walls, Jack Harlow, Tiana Taylor, Laura Harrier, Vince Staples, Miles Bullock, and Lance Reddick. Juggling tenuous relationships, financial pressures, and serious internal struggles, two ballers, opposites who are seemingly miles apart, find they might have more in common than they possibly imagined. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for this remake of the 1992 film of the same name?
I'm gonna actually be a little bit controversial probably and say one up, one down. I think it looks like an unnecessary remake because it's just doing the plot of the first movie. Like, doesn't look to have changed anything other than the year it's set, I guess. But that said, having Jack Harlow and all that, like, it's gonna attract people. Are gonna watch it. I don't know. Like, it looks fun enough. It's just I don't know. It just seems pointless, but I can't really say they didn't look. I can't say it looked bad. It looks pointless. So I'll go one up, one down.
I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up. I think it was really good and funny. And I haven't seen the original film, but it looks like they've taken the original premise and kind of doubled down on like the trash talk and the jokiness and like kind of updated it.
The first one was a comedy still. Like, it was
but they've also added this clear goal of winning this tournament, which was I don't think was in the first film. Them, it was just like hustling, and it was like I think they were like crime people trying to get them. So I mean, that seems like an element that's completely taken out. Yeah, I mean, it looks funny bits. The bit where he says buckets to the guy with massive ears. Come on. And there's a flamethrower. Crazy. All right. White Man Can't Jump is coming to Disney Plus on the 19th of May. Next trailer is for Fubar, created by Nick Santora, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Monica Barbaro, Jay Baruchel, Aparana, Brielle, Andy Buckley, Milan Carter, Fortune Feimster, Barbara Eve Harris, Gabriel Luna, Fabiana Udino, and Travis Van Winkle. Luke and his daughter Emma have lied to each other for years, both of them not knowing the other is a CIA operative. Once they both learn the truth, they realize they don't actually know each other. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for Fubar? Fuck beyond all recognition.
Is that what it stands for?
That's what it stands for, at least in colloquially. Yeah.
I'll go one up, one down. It looks sort of fun, but also not really something I'm going to be rushing out to watch. Like, I appreciate Arnie doing this. I think he's really good in comedy stuff. Usually, it's sort of his secret talent is doing comedy. But yeah, there was no standout thing. It's just doing the typical like, oh no, the dad's like, oh, he can't treat his 28-year-old girl like a real woman yet. Still thinks she's like 12. I don't know. Like, some of the jokes, I'm just like, yeah, okay. Like, it's not very eventful, but whatever. Yeah, so I'll go one up, one down.
Yeah, I'll go one up, one down as well. I think, it looks fine. It looks like it'll be a fun time, enjoyable thing to like have on in the background while you're doing something else. Looks like some solid jokes, and it's cool to see Monica Barrero in more stuff after Top Gun Maverick. I guess seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger in like a TV show, it's like again another case of like television is the future of stuff. All these people who were only ever in movies are now in TV. Yeah. it looks like it'll be enjoyable enough time. It seems like a very Netflix show. There seems to be a lot of these kind of toned shows, especially recently. So yeah, Fubar coming to Netflix on the 25th of May. Last trailer for this week, Insidious: The Red Door, directed by Patrick Wilson, starring Ty Simpkins, Patrick Wilson, Chaim Abbas, Sinclair Daniel, Andrew Astor, and Rose Byrne. Josh Lambert heads east to drop his son Dalton off at school. However, Dalton's college dream soon becomes a living nightmare when the repressed demons of his past suddenly return to haunt them both. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for the latest entry in the Insidious franchise?
Yeah, I'll go one up, one down. I'm keen for this as a movie to come back to these after many Insidious sequels that weren't actually connected to the main characters from the first two films, coming back to them 10 years later and seeing where they're up to. Also, from what I can gather, it's the kid's still played by the kid, which is he's just actually grown up. That's how life works. But will be good. Getting the full cast back with Byrne and along for the ride and everything like that. I'm definitely keen to watch it. The trailer was just a little bit like playing, like having the Tulip song playing and stuff like that just leaned a little bit too heavily into like, you remember the first fucking two you loved? Here's like, we're back, baby. Like, I was like, okay, but whatever. Yeah, I'll go one up, one down.
Yeah, I'll go one up, one down as well. Of course, this is my kind of movie, but it looks like Insidious. Lots of weird stuff. I think it's obviously cut together really well with like especially like him doing the memory thing, and there's the guy in the window, and then it turns out it's all a dream. Don't you just love it when that happens? So how closely tied did they get their memories repressed at the end of the last movie, or is this like a new thing that's been invented for this film?
I think I need to do a rewatch because the first two movies just have like a wild thing where, so the first one, they have this whole, like they're getting haunted and the kids in the coma and stuff like that. And then eventually Patrick Wilson goes into this like door area to like save his son and stuff like that. And then in the second movie, they're like, it actually is revealed that Patrick Wilson ends up having to go back into this subworld, and then like everything that was happening to him in the first movie was being caused by himself in the future, and like in this ghost world. Like, it gets, the lore of these movies is wild. So yeah, I think I need to do a bit of a rewatch.
Okay, yeah, that does sound wild. All right. Insidious: The Red Door will be in Australian cinemas on the 6th of July. All right, let's jump into this week's top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
And one of the websites that I regularly frequent is the Imp Awards. And finally, after much delay, they're doing this year's, last year's best movie posters. So Imp Awards is like a website that like collates a lot of the movie posters that come out every week, or like for all the different films, and they do annual awards in which they give them out to the best movie posters. This year, very delayed. Normally they do it in March, but now they've finally done it in April. So now we're going to give our top 3 movie posters of 2022. So Dylan, what's your number 3?
Now, I wasn't sure because you linked. Did you want me to only use the ones that they've nominated?
You can do whatever you want. That was just like a kind of helper. You know what I mean?
Okay, good. That helps then. All right, my number 3 is the Batman teaser poster, which they didn't have in their thing. It's like the red soaked one. The silhouette on the, like, it's just rain and it's all red. It says down the bottom the Batman has the date down the bottom, but it's just like the highlight. It's just, you can't think anything of Batman other than just the symbol on his chest and everything. It was a standout, the first poster they put out, but that will be my number 3.
My number 3 is the Babylon poster. The one with Margot Robbie in that red dress. She wears one in that one scene.
Yep.
You know the one.
I do. I've watched the movie twice now.
Just a clear depiction of the movie captured in one scene. And just completely like great composition, like the names of all the stars down the middle. Yeah, I think it's just a really well done poster. So yeah. My number 3. Dylan, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is poster for Pearl, but not the one that they have in their nominee. It's actually the other one. So I think this was the first one, like teaser poster, and then the one they've nominated is like the main poster. But the other one has Mia Goth on the front. She's holding an axe over her. There's like a spotlight on her, and then in the background, she's against the barn shed of her home, but it forms an X in the background. So I really appreciate that. Like, there's all this play on, like, you see Pearl, it's in quotes. It's like got the text is in the like movie star sort of format of the time.
Yeah.
She's got the spotlight on her because she's obsessed and she wants to become this actress. She's clearly killed someone because there's blood all over her hands and everything like that. You've got the X in the background because it's a spin-off of X. Like I just think it's a very good poster and everything. So.
My second pick, my number 2, the Top Gun Maverick poster, in which, you know, Tom Cruise just sitting on his plane that he's been working on and looking at fighter jets. I don't think it's pulled from any moment in the movie, but it's a very good minimalistic poster, which I appreciate. And like, yeah, I think it looks really good. Obviously having the logo in the corner against the blue sky. Yeah, I think put together really well. So yeah, that's my number 2. Dylan, what is your number 1 poster of 2022?
My number 1 poster is a Jackass Forever poster with Johnny Knoxville's a chicken flying out of it at the front, which may seem like a joke, but it's such a memorable, just like well done poster. Like, it's design wise, it's like all you need. Like you look at it, you know clearly what it is. It's Jackass Forever. It does the line of sight photography rule, which is you see object down the bottom, it's firing something. Your eye travels up with that. Oh, there's Joey Knoxville. It's like so. I think it's like from the best. I remember seeing it on my local cinema every time it was on the wall for ages. I was like, that's such a funny, just perfect poster for this movie. So I'm going with that. My number 1.
My number 1 is the Everything Everywhere All at Once poster. You know, they've won every other award. Why not this? Obviously, it's a poster designed by James Jean. Just perfectly kind of encapsulate the movie in this one poster, with all these beautiful designs. Like, this obviously came out before the movie came out, and yet you look at it and there's like all these little teasers to things in the trailer. Like, obviously it's got all these little the auditor trophies in the corner that, you know, have some sort of significance in the actual film. They've even got Raccacoonie in there that you wouldn't have known, you wouldn't have realized, like, going in, that he would be like a big deal. Obviously the thing with the hot dog fingers, even like the dog that gets thrown around by Jenny Slate is on the poster, and and rocks with googly eyes and stuff. So yeah, really good trailer, really good poster. Definitely one I would like to have up on my wall, I think. So yeah, that's my number 1. Dylan, this week, what do you want to watch?
I might struggle this week. I mean, I'm going for a bit of a holiday, so I'm flying out to Canberra later this week. So I'm sort of like as an off week, I'll put it. And because of that, I will say my answer is going to be, because I believe the current plan is to finally watch Dungeons and Dragons. So that's going to be my answer.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Excited to hear your thoughts on Dungeons and Dragons. Because Kieran finally watched it. He liked it.
Yeah.
After you like protested against it, pretty much.
Yeah. I haven't been protesting.
Hated the concept of the movie, so
I haven't watched it yet. That's all.
All right.
I'm going to skip the TV show because I don't think I'm watching anything this week.
You're not going to watch anything. This week I'm looking forward to Sweet Tooth season 2. Little dear boy coming back, dealing with a bunch of other human animal hybrids. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
No movie, I guess, this week. I mean, Polite Society is coming out, which I've seen already. Would recommend people seeing. 80 for Brady is the only other big movie coming out this week, and not keen on that. And then, of course, Peter Pan and Wendy is coming out on Disney Plus, and I'm pretty sure nobody's excited about that. Yeah, bunch of different TV show stuff coming out as well, though. So, like Love and Death, the miniseries, which has not been getting good reviews, so I don't know whether that's going to be worth checking out. Or
I mean, Citadel's out.
Citadel.
Starts. I haven't. I got sent screeners, haven't started it, so I can't really say anything. But
On the plane.
I've just been too busy. So yeah, had this other thing to do.
Yeah. Let us know what you want to watch this week by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump to Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on a podcast, Podchaser, leave us 5 stars. Anyone can leave 5 stars or just tell people about the show. And if you enjoyed this episode, thought it was worth $1, head over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.